This news update has been compiled with content from socialistworld.net.
I'm Nick Schillingford, and this is a 3-minute news update. Capitalism is a blind system, tobogganing towards disaster. There's been no more than a weak recovery from the last crisis in most countries, and now, as predicted, a new calamity is unfolding. Thursday, August 4th was a black day on world stock exchanges, but Monday, August 8th was even worse. In New York, the Dow Jones Index has dropped 1,147 points over 3 trading days. That represents 9.13% of its value. The collapse in stock markets represent clouds piling up in the global economy's sky. The U.S. economy is stagnating, and the huge cuts that are following the deal between the Democrats and Republicans in Congress to raise the debt ceiling are threatening to strangle an already weak recovery. Business Week wrote on August 5th, quote, "What was unthinkable 6 months ago, the U.S. running the risk of falling into recession in 2012, is a thought that more and more now consider. It is this insight that makes the entire ground shake. The debt crisis is deepening. The EU leaders had hoped that the crisis settlement in July, including new loans to Greece, would give some relief, but these measures have not calmed the financial markets. A new banking crisis is beginning. Several large European banks have reported losses, and banks will not lend to each other. This means less and less available credit. Add to that there is growing concern that China is about to slow down after an unbridled expansion of credit built up a huge debt mountain, creating unstoppable bubbles and overheating inflation. Governments and central banks could be forced to implement new incentives and provide new emergency loans. However, all arrangements are temporary and followed by new crises. And governments have fewer reserves than they did in 2008-2009. Today's debt crisis follows in spite of measures that governments had to take then to avoid, if possible, total economic collapse and a new depression. The Socialist Party calls for the nationalization of the big banking and finance companies. Compensation should be paid on the basis of proven need, without one penny going to the rich speculators who are demanding that the working class pay for the crisis for which they, the speculators, bear responsibility. Decisions would be made to meet the needs of the majority, for example, offering cheap loans and mortgages for housing and for the planned development of industry and services, and ending all repossession of people's homes. It would also be necessary to take all the big corporations that dominate the economy into democratic public ownership. This would then allow for production to be planned to meet the needs of all people and the planet, and not for private profit.
This has been a 3-minute news update.